Princess Lyra of the Varelian Empire stood at the edge of the Grand Council Hall, her posture perfect, her expression calm. Yet inside, she felt a storm of nerves. The hall was immense, taller than any structure on her home planet, filled with representatives from dozens of worlds, each more alien than the next. Glittering banners of every color hung from the high ceilings, reflecting the soft light of the crystal chandeliers. The air was tense with expectation. Today, for the first time, humans would participate in council matters. Lyra had read about humans, of course. They were the newcomers, the species that had risen so quickly from obscurity to interstellar relevance. They were said to be audacious, fearless, and sometimes reckless. Most Varelians considered them unpredictable and even dangerous. And yet, for some reason, she felt a strange curiosity about them, an interest that went beyond diplomacy. She caught sight of him before anyone introduced him. Captain Elias Ward. Human, standing straight and calm, scanning the room with an alertness that made Lyra's chest tighten in an unfamiliar way. There was nothing flamboyant about him. He wore the simple uniform of a human fleet officer, yet he commanded attention without trying. His brown eyes were steady, sharp, and seemed to weigh every detail in a single glance. Lyra forced herself to breathe slowly. Her advisors had warned her about letting humans rattle her composure. Humans had a strange way of making even the most disciplined Varelians uncomfortable. She straightened her shoulders and reminded herself that she was a princess of one of the oldest and most respected empires in the galaxy. She had faced countless negotiators, generals, and spies. She could handle a single human. The council session began. Words were spoken in many languages, translated instantly by the council's devices. Protocol was followed, but the tension was palpable. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The humans would speak. Captain Ward stepped forward. He did not bow, nor did he make grand gestures. He simply stood, hands clasped behind his back, and spoke clearly, directly. Honored representatives, we come not as conquerors, but as partners. Our species has learned much from observation and experience, and we hope to contribute to the Council in ways that benefit all. Lyra blinked. The words were simple, but there was a confidence behind them that she could not ignore. Confidence that did not demand respect, but inspired it. She found herself listening more intently than she had intended. Her advisors whispered warnings in her ear, but she silenced them. Something about this human was different. The topic turned to a disputed asteroid mining zone at the edge of the Orion cluster. Varelians claimed exclusive rights based on centuries-old agreements, but humans argued for shared access, citing their ability to extract resources with minimal disruption. The debate was polite, yet charged, each side trying to assert its case without igniting open conflict. Lyra felt the familiar pressure rising. Her people expected her to be firm, to assert Varelian authority, and protect their claim. Yet, as she watched Ward speak, she felt a hesitation that was almost foreign. He did not speak with arrogance or entitlement. He spoke with logic and fairness, and with something else, a quiet determination that humans seem to carry in every action. Then he presented his plan. It was unconventional. Instead of dividing the asteroid between the two species, he proposed a joint operation, combining human adaptability with Varelian technology. At first, her advisors reacted with alarm. Such an arrangement was risky. Sharing control meant compromising power. It was against every instinct of the Varelian way. Lyra felt her pulse quicken. The plan made sense. More sense than any of the rigid proposals her advisors had offered. It relied on trust, communication, and teamwork qualities she had never valued as highly as strategy and hierarchy. Yet she could not deny that it had merit. As Ward outlined the operation, he spoke of human flexibility, their ability to improvise under pressure, and their willingness to take calculated risks. Lyra found herself intrigued, her mind racing through possibilities she had never considered. Could humans truly bring something her people lacked? Could they show her a new way of thinking? Her attention to detail did not go unnoticed. Ward paused briefly, meeting her gaze. For a moment, Lyra felt exposed, as if he could see through the layers of training, etiquette, and expectation that she wore like armor. She looked away, forcing herself to remain composed. She was a princess, a symbol of her empire. She could not afford to falter now. The council debated for hours. Arguments were made, counters presented, and slowly, a sense of compromise began to take shape. Lyra spoke rarely, but when she did, her words were measured, precise, and surprisingly aligned with Ward's suggestions. Her advisors shot her worried glances, but she ignored them. The human approach was not reckless as they feared. It was bold, but thoughtful. It was a kind of bravery she had rarely witnessed in her own people. As the session ended, Lyra was left standing near the council dais, the hum of conversation around her fading into the background. Ward approached, his expression calm, but with a faint smile that suggested he had noticed her attention. "Princess Lyra," he said, his voice steady. "Your input was valuable today. Your perspective helped shape a solution that benefits all parties." Lyra felt an unfamiliar warmth at the compliment. She inclined her head slightly. "Captain Ward, your approach is unusual for our standards, yet it is effective. I did not expect humans to be so adaptable." Ward chuckled softly. "We learn quickly. Sometimes, necessity is the best teacher." Lyra studied him for a moment. There was no arrogance in his tone, only confidence rooted in action, rather than title. She realized, with a jolt, that she was genuinely curious about these humans, about their ways, their decisions, their spirit. Her advisors were urging her to move, to attend the private council dinner where Varelian elites would discuss the session. But she lingered, captivated by the presence of the human captain. She did not understand why she felt this pull, why she found herself drawn to his methods and his calm authority. Perhaps it was the very unpredictability of humans that intrigued her. Perhaps it was the quiet confidence that came from facing challenges without fear of failure. Ward seemed to sense her hesitation. "I know our cultures are different," he said, "but perhaps there is value in learning from each other. Sometimes the strongest alliances come from understanding, not dominance." Lyra nodded slowly, her mind racing. He spoke not just with words, but with conviction, demonstrating the qualities her people often overlooked: courage, creativity, and resilience. She realized that humans could achieve greatness not through rigid control, but through ingenuity and teamwork. As the council hall emptied, Lyra found herself walking alongside Ward, discussing details of the joint operation. She asked questions, probing his reasoning, analyzing his decisions. Each answer deepened her respect, and something more subtle, something almost personal, began to take root. She felt a spark of admiration for the human species and for the man representing it. Later, in her private chambers, Lyra reflected on the day's events. She had maintained her composure publicly, but inside, she had experienced a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but they were also courageous, resourceful, and determined. They could adapt where Varelians might hesitate. They could think beyond tradition and hierarchy. She realized that her decision in the council had been influenced not by duty alone, but by recognition of human potential. She had felt respect, curiosity, and perhaps something even deeper. For the first time, she understood that humans could challenge her, not by force, but by demonstrating qualities her empire often undervalued. Lyra knew the next steps would be critical. The joint operation would test not only the humans but also her ability to trust and collaborate. It would challenge her understanding of strength and leadership, and it would bring her face to face with qualities she had rarely acknowledged: admiration for ingenuity and a willingness to embrace the unexpected. As she gazed out over the city lights of her home planet, Lyra felt a mixture of anticipation and unease. The human captain had left an impression she could not ignore. She did not yet understand the full extent of his influence, or the ways in which humans might reshape her perspective. But she knew one thing for certain. The galaxy would never be the same. And neither would she. She allowed herself a small, private smile. For the first time in her life, she looked forward to working with humans, to learning from them, and to seeing how their audacity, creativity, and courage might inspire not just her people, but herself as well. And somewhere in the quiet of her chambers, Princess Lyra knew that the story of humans in the Interstellar Council was only just beginning. The morning of the joint operation dawned crisp and bright over the Orion cluster. Princess Lyra stood on the observation deck of the Virelian command ship, looking out at the massive asteroid belt where the mission would take place. The humans had arrived early, moving with efficiency and purpose, yet without the rigid formality of her people. Captain Elias Ward was already coordinating teams, his voice calm, confident, and carrying easily across the decks. Lyra felt a mix of anticipation and unease. The plan was bold. Humans and Virelians would work together to extract rare minerals from a particularly dense asteroid, navigating the unpredictable terrain with a combination of technology and adaptability. If it succeeded, it would be a historic achievement, proving that cooperation between species could overcome even the greatest challenges. If it failed, it could spark diplomatic tension that would last for decades. She approached Ward as he checked equipment and directed crews. "Everything is proceeding according to plan?" she asked, her voice steady, though her heart raced slightly. Ward looked up and smiled briefly. "As much as anything in space can, Princess. Humans are ready. I trust your teams are prepared as well?" "Not." Lyra nodded. "We are. Though I confess, your methods are different from ours. I hope your confidence is not misplaced." Ward's smile widened just a little. "Confidence is built on preparation and flexibility. That combination tends to work well, especially in the asteroid belt." The operation began smoothly. Virelian drones, controlled with precise programming, carved through rock with unmatched accuracy, while human teams moved among the asteroids, improvising with tools and techniques that Lyra had never seen before. They adjusted to unexpected shifts in gravity and debris, their hands quick, their decisions swift. Each action displayed intelligence in motion, creativity born from experience rather than procedure. Lyra observed from the deck, quietly impressed. She had trained her entire life to anticipate risks, to follow protocol, and to rely on technology to minimize error. Humans, however, seemed to thrive in uncertainty, thinking fast, improvising, and finding solutions where her people might see only obstacles. She felt a growing admiration, mingled with something like excitement, at witnessing human ingenuity firsthand. As the teams reached the asteroid's core, the first major challenge arose. A sudden gravitational fluctuation caused a section of the rock to crack and shift, threatening to collapse on the human workers. Virelian drones reacted with calculated precision. But the humans were already improvising, using temporary support beams and coordinating lifts to stabilize the debris. Lyra's advisors whispered warnings, urging caution. "The humans are reckless," one muttered. "They will endanger the mission." But Lyra shook her head slightly. The humans' actions were bold, yes, but not careless. They assessed the danger, adjusted their methods, and acted with decisiveness and intelligence. She felt a surge of pride at seeing them succeed under pressure, and, despite herself, a growing respect for Captain Ward's leadership. The tension increased when a sudden asteroid storm approached, sending smaller rocks hurtling toward the operation site. Virelian drones struggled against the chaos, and some human workers were forced to take shelter. Ward's voice cut through the noise, issuing calm, precise instructions. Humans formed protective teams, improvising shields and adjusting their extraction points in real time. Lyra could not tear her eyes away. The humans worked as one, trusting each other, adapting instantly, and maintaining focus despite the danger. She realized that their courage was not just the absence of fear, but the ability to act intelligently in spite of it. The storm passed, leaving behind a trail of dust and scattered rocks. Despite the challenge, the operation continued. The humans had already corrected for the shifting environment, recalculating extraction points and using their creativity to overcome obstacles that drones and programmed devices could not handle. Lyra's heart swelled with admiration. Humans were proving themselves not just capable, but exceptional. By the time the operation reached its final stage, the asteroid's core had been successfully harvested. Both human and Varelian teams worked together to stabilize the materials and prepare them for transport. Lyra walked among the crews, observing interactions and noting how smoothly the collaboration had developed. She was struck by the humans' ability to inspire confidence, to lead without imposing dominance, and to solve problems with ingenuity rather than force. Captain Ward approached her once more. "Princess Lyra, your teams were remarkable today. Their precision and dedication made this possible." Lyra smiled. A rare, genuine smile that reached her eyes. "And your humans were extraordinary. I underestimated your species, your courage, creativity, and adaptability. It is remarkable. You have proven qualities that my people often overlook." Ward's expression remained humble. "We do not seek recognition, Princess. We seek results. But I am glad our methods have earned your respect." The operation concluded with both species standing side by side, observing the successful extraction. Lyra felt a sense of accomplishment, not just for the mission, but for what it represented. Humans had demonstrated that intelligence, courage, and teamwork could achieve greatness in ways her people had not always appreciated. They had faced challenges, adapted, and prevailed without relying on superiority or force. Later, during the debriefing, council members from other worlds approached Lyra, curious about the joint operation. She spoke proudly of the humans, highlighting their resourcefulness, courage, and ingenuity. Her words carried weight, not because of her status, but because she had witnessed the truth herself. Humans had earned respect through action, not rank, and Lyra was eager to make that known. As the day ended, Lyra found herself alone with Ward on the observation deck once more. The asteroid belt stretched out beneath them, illuminated by the distant glow of stars. She turned to him, her expression thoughtful. We, Captain Ward, I admit, I did not expect humans to be so impressive. You have shown qualities that my people rarely value. I find myself learning from you." Ward nodded, a slight smile on his face. "And we have learned from you, Princess. Your leadership and insight made coordination possible. Humanity thrives on cooperation as much as independence." Lyra's gaze drifted back to the asteroids, reflecting on the events of the day. She had entered this operation uncertain and cautious, but she left it with a new understanding of human potential. Their courage, adaptability, and intelligence had not only ensured success, but had also challenged her perception of strength, leadership, and diplomacy. She realized that humans were not just capable allies, they were inspiring. Their willingness to face uncertainty, to think creatively, and to act decisively in moments of crisis was a form of greatness her people had rarely acknowledged. And in recognizing this, she felt a shift within herself, a readiness to embrace collaboration, to learn, and to admire qualities beyond tradition and hierarchy. As the stars sparkled overhead, Lyra allowed herself a private smile. She looked forward to future collaborations, to learning more from humans, and to seeing what could be achieved when courage and ingenuity were paired with wisdom and guidance. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges. But she knew that together, humans and Varelians could accomplish extraordinary things. Captain Ward stood beside her, quietly observing the view. Lyra felt a sense of connection, not just to him, but to the human species as a whole. They had earned her respect through action, through intelligence, and through the courage to face the unknown. She understood now that true strength was not measured by power alone, but by the ability to adapt, to innovate, and to inspire others. The joint operation had ended successfully, but its impact was just beginning. Lyra knew that humans would continue to shape the future of the Council, not through dominance, but through the qualities that made them extraordinary. And she would be there, ready to learn, to cooperate, and to witness the remarkable potential of a species that had already challenged her perceptions and earned her admiration. For the first time in her life, Princess Lyra felt a sense of excitement for the future, a future that included humans and the endless possibilities their courage and ingenuity could bring. The galaxy was changing, and so was she.